that's not reality. You have a certain population that all they know is when they call, they expect the police, the fire, the ambulance, our services to be there. As a member of the fire department, I've watched our training change 180 degrees in 10 years. The amount of paperwork we have to do. When I get out of a truck, I feel a lot better when Adam's there on a car accident, or Cody, or a police officer to take charge of traffic control. That's not my job as a fireman, to take charge of traffic control. If they're not there, I have to. As a EMS officer, you know, Lynn mentioned, it's nice to have those guys there. I understand this is an emotional thing. I'm an emotional person. I also can crunch dollars and cents. And I, as a citizen and as a council member, will not sacrifice services to go say that I saved. You know, what are we going to save? By not having a full-time, filling them in with a part-time. What are you going to save, really? You're going to save the benefit costs.
30,000.
It's not
But you're
30.
gonna be paying out a lot more in overtime.
You're gonna pay overtime, you're gonna pay, or you're gonna have to fill them in with a part-time officer.
Or the
I just had a
part-timer can't be
discussion.
there.
I just had a discussion with a citizen of another town west of here, and they actually run, I think, it's somewhere between 9 and 11 part-time officers. Their coverage is sporadic at best. Oh, and they're about our size. They're 2,200 people, and they have 14 public works employees. So are we doing it right? Or are they doing it right? I'd say we're doing a pretty darn good job. I understand that it's time for a discussion, and that's what we're having. You know, and we all have different viewpoints, but I'm stating my viewpoint is I think that we are not adding an officer, we are replacing one.
Understood.
So,
And at some point, Vern, you keep on saying status quo. One person's status quo is supporting what's working. This works. And it protects the city. At some point, you're not looking for something new, you're just ruining something good. We're the envy of the area around here. I think you compare this town to all the towns in Fillmore County, boy, I'd rather be Rushford. Go ahead, Steve.
Your Honor, I do appreciate the opportunity to talk about these issues, because I do think that we've moved the needle in maybe looking at things a little differently than we have in the past. I think the chief has charted out a course here, and it's going to take a little bit of time, but through public outreach, I think you do start to get those, what we used to call in the Army were multipliers. You get those multiplier effects. If the police department has those neighborhood watch meetings, and again, it's a national effort. These aren't armed people walking around town. These aren't folks that are glued to the windows. They just happen to be keyed on certain things. And you've already identified a training program that you can go up, or someone of your officers up to in the cities. 3-day program. They can come back with the latest and greatest and how to do that outreach and how to get neighbors involved. We tried that last year. Got to admit it didn't go very well. But if we can get one neighborhood, then we start to have that effect, and it's going to take a little time to build that up. You know, how much safer of a community would we have if every neighborhood had an organized watch group? We'd be arguably much more safer. How much better off would we be as a community if everybody was an EMT, or if everybody was a first responder and had an aid bag and knew how to use it?
and would use it.
Would we put Lynn out of business? I don't think so. We would still need an ambulance, obviously, but maybe somebody is there much quicker to stabilize the situation. Is it likely that those scenarios would play out? No, but if some people do it, if the ambulance crew starts to talk, maybe they get a few more recruits. Maybe some people take the first aid class that they offer in the high school. Or we bring somebody in to do that kind of training. And all of those things add to making us a better community, and are all done at little or no cost. And I think it achieves the effect that you're looking for. Question of the dollars, really the only thing in the budget that we can look at slicing is hours. I mean, that's it. You've seen the numbers, it's really tough. I mean, otherwise we get rid of the vehicle, you can't do that, because you wouldn't have anything to back them up with. And the savings really wouldn't be there. And so, again, I think if we ask the chief to take a look at his patrol schedule and deliver some of those savings that we're looking for, I don't think there's gonna be any savings. I think 2014 is gonna be a really tough year, because we're gonna want extra patrolling to make sure people are staying on the detour routes. So I wouldn't be convinced that next year would be a good year to see that that's gonna happen, but maybe. There's certainly time between now and when we start taking the road out, that we might be able to save some time. But I don't think we'd wanna direct the chief to do that in an open meeting, try to micromanage his hours. I don't think anybody's suggesting that. But that might be a way that we can achieve some reductions as well. And certainly would like to hear the chief's ideas about, is there a way that we can mitigate that risk, or take, but that's what it is, it's all risk. We start reducing patrol hours, we increase the risk of suffering negative consequences.
I took a consensus, 52 people that I've talked to. 11 are in favor of hiring another patrolman, and 41's against.
We're not hiring a new patrolman, we're replacing the one that quit.
We're hiring a new one.
We're replacing the one that quit.
What's the difference?
We
the
are,
way it's stated,
if
because
we
it's-
were going from 3 to 4, that would be new.
We've had 3 full-time officers since 2001. So that's a long time since we've had 3 full-time officers. And the town has grown since then. We've had at least 100 new homes since then. We've had probably 10 new businesses since then. And we've got new ones that are coming up yet. The motel, I'm sure they would like to know that there's gonna be somebody patrolling the area regularly. We're not shrinking here, the town is growing, and you expect businesses to invest in themselves. They're gonna want their investment to be protected. $17 million of flood recovery money went to the downtown businesses. They're gonna want that protected. You can't do that with fluctuating part-time help.
Our part-timers get paid $13.71 an hour. You can, if you don't
And that's
have
less than the other departments in the area.
Yep, it's a lot less.
A lot
And
less.
what we're getting is a very cheap service, but a high quality of service by using that part-timers to fill in on the holidays. Instead of paying myself to work a holiday, where you get paid holiday pay, we have the lowest paid person in the department work that. We understand by paying that amount that people are gonna come and go, but we are getting a lot more hours of service for that $13.71 an hour. So it's a very cheap insurance plan. And by cutting the service of the part-time hours, or even the full-time one, you're opening yourself up to situations, and it's a shoulda, coulda, woulda. Once something bad happens and we lose somebody, someone's injured or killed or whatever,